What's going on there, guys? We're back with another one. Want to talk a little bit of Joe Flacco on today, as he was asked about Shedeur Sanders and likened it, or the reporter rather, likened it to Lamar Jackson arriving in Baltimore. And we all remember there was a bit of controversy where Joe Flacco basically said it's not his job to mentor. RG3 confirmed it, being the third quarterback in that QB room, saying that after they drafted Lamar, they basically kept RG3 around to mentor Lamar because Joe Flacco was unwilling. He wanted to continue to be the guy at the QB position.
For me as a quarterback in the room with Joe and Lamar, it was awkward. Let's just call it what it was. Brought me in at first to be in that room with Joe, and then they drafted Lamar and really kept me there to help be a mentor for Lamar Jackson. But for him and Lamar, it was more of learn from my example.
And also, if you look at it, Flacco won a Super Bowl with those guys. So he feels like, that was his organization still. So you had that rift there. Well, this many years later, he was asked again about potentially taking a mentor role with Shador, with Dylan Gabriel and those young guys. And this is the answer he gave.
Have been around, you've seen so much, almost everything, even with Lamar coming into Baltimore. How have you, sensed the whole Shedeur sort of celebrity and aura that kind of follows him around, and what impact does that have on anything?
I don't know if it has an impact on much, but Shadeur's been great. I mean, he's a lot of fun to be around in those meeting rooms, and I think so far there's been, at least once in the meeting room that he's made me crack a smile, and that's what it's all about. He's a young guy trying to learn some football and come out here and practice well and do those things. And like I said, he's been a lot of fun. I mean, he's come up to me and, listen, I probably wasn't too far away from playing against his dad, and now I'm playing with him. So,
Joe, you've been vocal in recent years about the topic of veteran quarterbacks having a duty as a mentor. Why do you think us outside world makes such a big deal of that?
it's a talking point. You can kind of use it because it's a good question to bait somebody into answering, and no matter how they answer it, it kind of makes the guy that's answering it look bad. If I say I don't want to be a mentor, I look bad. If I say I do want to be a mentor, then I look like an idiot that doesn't care about being good and playing football. So it's one of those questions that no matter what I say, you guys can write what you want to write about it. And there's a lot of questions like that. That's why you end up having to try to avoid them. I tend to try to be honest, and I've said I'm not a mentor. I play football. And in a quarterback room, there's a lot of times there's been a ton of times where there's learning experiences, and I have a lot of experience, and I can talk on things, and hopefully they listen. But it's not necessarily my job to make sure they listen to me. And hey, hopefully you have a really good relationship with the guys that are in the room, and you naturally want to do that, But that's that was a long-winded answer, but that's ultimately why I think you guys ask it.
Now, Joe Flacco's position is he's not out there just to be some mentor. He's not some washed up QB that can't go out there and, still perform at a high level. He feels like in his mind, that he's the man for the job this upcoming season. And I guess, when you think about it, that's how you stay ready. But I think this situation, um, it's receiving a lot of attention because of some of his comments when new QBs have come into the room in the past. Most notably, Lamar Jackson, where basically, he didn't want to mentor him and all that. He still wanted that job. They're looking at it like, how you gonna mentor Shador? And also, I mean, Dylan Gabriel too, but they're definitely talking about Shador because you heard how they asked that question. They made the parallels with him and Lamar coming in with a lot of buzz. And I think part of it, I understand where Flacco's coming from if you're going to be in that QB room. And also, I'm dropping nuggets. So whether you pick them up or not isn't really on me. But, at 40 years of age, I would hope, he pulls the young QBs to the side because you're not even the QB. Even if you start this year, day one, you won't start next year day one. So I do feel like, he has somewhat of an obligation to bring the young guys along, whether it be Shador or Dylan. I think, both of those guys, and they need to soak up as much knowledge as they can. Shador had glowing things to say about Joe Flacco, and this is what he said.
What are you one of one in that quarterback room? I'll say we all different characters. It's funny going there and seeing Joe every day.
Flacco?
Yes.
Tell me.
It's fun. It's funny seeing him because at first I'm like, wow, I'm really with Joe Flacco right now. Like, we're on the same team.
Yeah.
So like that's cool. And then of course with Kenny, the experience he had being in the league for these years, it's cool. Like just seeing the process of it. And Deshaun, of course, he's active in there. He's in all the meetings, so it's cool talking to him.
That clip is important because a lot of times the narrative around Shedeur is like entitlement and that he doesn't have reverence for those who came before him and that he feels like he's already on the level. But you could see, when he walked in, he saw Joe Flacco. Like, that's still that moment of like, man, I watched this dude on TV all these years. I can't believe that I'm in the QB room with him. And so, with Joe Flacco seeing something like that, I would hope that he would bring Shador under his wing and Dylan. And, I mean, Kenny, all of them can learn from him for all his experiences in the league, to be honest with you. So, I don't think uh, the approach should be just follow my lead of what I do. Now I do think he can show them some things as well, but I think he can impart some wisdom. Ain't no way he's played as long as he has, lasted as long as he has, expected to be QB1 right now if the season started today for the Browns because of Deshaun Watson's injury. I don't think he's been around without wisdom, that he can pull people aside and impart it in them a little bit differently. Yeah, they can pick up what you're doing on the fly, but they may not catch it, just seeing it. You can explain little intricacies that maybe they don't pick up just seeing what you do. Like you could point out, what the receiver's doing on this play. Which way the O line is going to block, what I'm saying? Or different. I'm just saying schematically, different things throughout the whole playbook and different things that you can pick up on and make it easier for you to memorize. You can share all these things with these young QBs, and I think it will go a long way with them. So, um, but again, I understand him wanting to compete at a high level, him wanting to still be a starting QB. The love for it is what keep you even in the QB room. You gotta have some love for it, and you gotta go out there and be the best version of yourself. And most people feel like the best version of themselves can still compete for a job. That. So I get that dynamic. I would just say make sure that you mentor these young guys and kind of shake that narrative you had on you around the time Lamar Jackson came in the league somewhat, in my opinion. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Till next time, peace.